My plan is to make some mini baguettes tomorrow, and it starts with the poolish tonight. A lot of times with yeast bread, it's not the ingredients, it is the technique. So there's my cup of flour, half cup of water, and I have a measuring spoon that's 1/8 of a teaspoon. This is only half of that, 1/16 of a teaspoon. That is not much at all. Okay, it calls this a poolish instead of a biga. I can't tell the difference. I think it's about the same. It's a really, really heavy dough. All right, I will mix this up a little bit better. And then tomorrow morning, we'll add the rest of the ingredients and try our hands at baguettes. It is the next morning, about 16 hours later. Well, you saw what this poolish looked like last night. Looked like a big wad of dough. Look how nice and bubbly it is. That's what we want. That's what we want. All right, so I'll just start now I'll dump this. This is kind of fun. You've seen this before. I think this is how the ciabatta started. Okay, let's get this in the bread pan. And I just realized not only is there no oil or fat in this baguette recipe, there's also no sugar. So we have the yeast in the water here with no sugar to get it bubbling faster. Now let's dump in the starter. So there's the water, the 1.5 teaspoons of yeast, 2 teaspoons of salt, the starter or poolish, and now let's dump the flour in. All right, let's go to the dough setting, get it started. 4 minutes is up, and that is not cohesive. That is still a mess. So even though I weighed the flour in grams, the difference in flour, difference in room humidity, maybe the water wasn't exactly to grams. I'm going to add just a teeny bit more flour. I know my main problem is adding too much flour to artisan dough, so we'll start really slow. Cohesive but rough. I don't know, to me this is still really sticky, but this is where I usually mess up, so we're going to try it. I can always add a little bit more flour later. I can't take it away. Once I dumped the dough out in here, it's really not too sticky. It's good. It's a little bit sticky, but we want that. So now I'll just let it go here for 45 minutes. That first 45 minutes went pretty quickly. So now it says gently deflate. Oh. And then it says move the edges to the center and then roll it over. Okay, folks, we're getting just a teeny bit of flour for this. This is how much flour I used, just a pinch, that's all. And then just folded it in on itself, flipped it over, and now we're good to go for another 45 minutes. The second 45 minutes is up. It says the dough should be noticeably puffy. All right, that looks puffy to me. Now here's the unusual thing. Normally you would put flour on the board to work with the dough, but this time it says lightly greased. So here's some olive oil. There's a teeny bit of olive oil. Okay, now let's dump the dough out here. Might need a little help. Come on, dough. All right, I suppose that the greasing it is to, well, to keep it from getting too much flour worked in. Okay, this is fun stuff. Now, oh goodness. Okay, it says gently deflate. Oh, I see some bubbles going on there. Gently deflate. All right, we'll call this gently deflating. I don't know. And then it says to divide it into 3 parts, but I want to make mini baguettes. All my serrated table knives seem to be in the dishwasher. I'm not sure this is a good idea. Will it work? Yeah, sort of. I just don't want to cut my Silpat mat. Okay, so that's in half, and then I want to cut each of these into 3 pieces. I should weigh them. I'm not going to. This makes me a little nervous. But that's okay. Lots of stuff makes me nervous. All right. 1, 2. Boy, these seem pretty big for mini baguettes. Oh well, that's okay. It said 3. We're making 6. Calling that mini. And maybe I'll make 4 out of this one. Okay, there's 1. This stuff is weird to work with. I tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, the next thing it says to do is make them into a rough ball. I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil in here, just a tad, just a little bit. I mean, I can't have them sticking all over the place. All right, it said to gather the edges together to make a ball. Is that right? Yeah, round each piece into a rough ball, pulling the edges into the center. Cover it with greased plastic wrap and let it rest for 15 minutes to an hour. All right, so let's do that. Let's gather them into a rough ball. That one's way bigger than this one. All right, stick it in the olive oil. And I think you need to be a little bit more dexterous than I am. I'm not dexterous, I'm more clumsy. There's 6 of them. Let's cover them with some plastic wrap. I'm not going to grease it because I think these little guys are greased the way they are. We'll cover it. I will also cover it with a tea towel. And we'll check back in 15 minutes or so. Slightly. All right, let's put a little bit of oil in that. Flatten it. Fold it almost in half. Seal it with the heel. Do the same thing again. This is turn it, but whatever. Okay, well, we'll turn it then. Flatten it. Turn it. Seal it with the heel. Pinch it together. It will shrink up some, so I'm going to call that one good. I've got some parchment over here. It is going to bake on a baking stone in the middle of the oven, which normally my baking stone is in the very bottom of the oven. Let's try one more of these and then I'll do the rest off camera. All right, so flatten it, fold it in half, seal it with the heel, turn it, I don't know if that means flip it, flatten it again, press it with the heel, pinch it shut, roll it. Well, that's not too bad. They look more like this now, and I've got 6 of them. In the meantime, I had to dig up my old cast iron skillet because that goes in the bottom of the oven. You're going to put boiling water in it to make a nice steam to make these crusty. The oven is up to temperature. I poured the boiling water in. This dough is the most slack I've ever ended up with. I couldn't even really slash these things. I don't think it's going to take 24 to 28 minutes since these are just mini baguettes. I'm going to set the timer for 15. And now the smoke alarm 2 rooms away went off, and we had to shut that one off too. So let's not do the steaming water in the oven thing. Not a good idea. Not the cast iron pan, not the steaming water. I opened up the windows in the kitchen now, hoping that we don't have any more alarms to go off. I put the offending cast iron pan out in the grass where it can't smoke up the house anymore. Okay, the rolls are supposed to register 200 degrees, and it looks like they are. Well, that's what the first 3 baguettes look like. They are definitely crispy. Okay, the crust is definitely crusty. And this is what it looks like on the inside. The crustier, the better. These ends are really good. Real crunchy. So I'm thinking, it said to make them extra crispy, put them back in the oven with the oven turned off, the door ajar until they both cool off. Because I like this crispy so well, that's what I'm going to do. Stick these back in the oven, leave the door ajar, and wait till everything cools to room temperature. We ate 2 of the shiny smoke alarm baguettes and the 3 non-smoke alarm baguettes we did not eat yet. So I'll wait till they cool off completely, and then I'll put them in a Ziploc bag and store them in the freezer because I don't think I'll be using them yet tomorrow.